So basically, what I'm going to talk to you about is landing your ideal job in a difficult market, obviously. And so to give you a little bit about my background, I'm a master career coach. I have 6 years of experience with coaching over 600 clients. I've searched for my ideal job for 25 years until I finally found it coaching other people. And I crossed industries 7 times in my 25-year career. I've worked for companies like Procter & Gamble, Technicolor, Disney, Prudential, Macy's, the U.S. court system, and a whole bunch of startups. I earned my MBA from the Harvard Business School. I got a book on the Amazon best-selling list. And I created the Career Synergy System to help identify and land ideal jobs for people. And it looks something like this. So over the last 6 years, I poured about 5,000 hours into developing this 4-phase C Synergy System to help people land their ideal jobs. And here's a flow chart of what it looks like. And basically, phase 1 is to get clear on what you want personally and professionally. And to make sure that you're really understanding the problems you solve and the industries and the organizations and roles that fit you. Phase 2 is translating your skills and abilities into a unique selling proposition and developing an arsenal of job search collateral that is compelling to recruiters and hiring managers. Phase 3 is building out relevant and responsive networking, or a responsive network to support you with ideas and leads and referrals, and employing an effective networking strategy. And then phase 4 is to hone your persuasion and self-promotion skills to establish an irresistible value proposition for interviewers that makes you stand out from the competition. So today, because I only have a short time with you, I'll be focusing exclusively on phase 2 to give you some really innovative and tangible custom job search tools to help you get noticed, not only in difficult times like these, but in any job market condition. So in future talks, I'll go over how to define your professional purpose, how to do your network developing and development and interview strategy. So be sure to connect with me on some of the social media sites that I posted in the chat box, and you'll get an update on when I'm going to do some of these other talks. And I just want to make sure that everybody is hearing me again. So if you just say, hey, I can hear you, or yes, that would be great. This way I know that I'm talking to somebody. Good, thanks, Derek. And I'm going to go back over to the presentation. Okay, so to move on, basically, I'll reserve 5 minutes at the end of this talk and presentation to answer your questions. So please ask your questions in the chat box, and I'd be happy to get to them at the end here. So job search strategy. Most people go out there and they resort to posting their resume on online job boards, and they go to the spray and pray resume submission method, meaning that they send out a whole bunch of resumes and hope that something sticks. And a lot of us resort to trying to beat this elusive applicant tracking system, also known as the applicant rejection system, which most companies have these days, which is a computer program that's reading your resume and cutting people so you might not even get seen by human eyes. And I can tell you, there is a much better way of doing this. One is to conduct a laser-focused network-based job search. Create compelling and unique selling proposition for yourself, and employing unconventional ways to get noticed, which I'm going to talk to you about today, and making direct contact with your target companies. So, one of the biggest mistakes that job searchers make is not taking the time to build a clear personal brand so that it resonates with companies, departments, and teams. And I'd love to deep dive and give you more guidance on how to develop this personal brand, but unfortunately, we only have a limited amount of time today. So if you stay to the end of the talk, I'll give you some details on how to get this guidance, as well as all of my leading strategies on how to land your ideal job. I'll do the best that I can to get to your questions, but know that I do one-on-one career coaching. I've actually just launched an 8-hour online course, and I'll give you a special offer to that at the end if you're interested. So right now, I'm going to dive in and talk about how to give you ideas on how to package and deliver your value proposition. It goes way beyond your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile. It's what I call next generation career collateral. And it's basically collateral is how you speak, write, or present your value proposition in terms of the business problems that you can help others solve. And today, I'm going to introduce you to the 4-tier branding statement, a professional dossier, mind maps, and a networking brief. Now, I can tell you, your competition probably aren't using these types of collateral because they're next gen, they're new, and I've been working on these for years, and I can tell you that most of my clients use this super successfully to land their next position or their dream job. So in order to get noticed, you have to be able to stand out. And studies show that recruiters, HR personnel, and hiring managers only give your resume between 6 and 60 seconds of consideration before making a decision, excuse me, to interview you or not. What's more is that the average job posting gets in excess of 250 applications. And back when I was a hiring manager, I actually remember getting about 400 resumes to one director level position that I posted. So given these statistics, you can see that you only have about a 1 to 4% chance of scoring an interview by submitting an online resume. So it's really not the best way to go. And if you want to land your ideal job, I teach the tactics to my clients that have helped about 95% of them to get the jobs that they really want. And we're going to go through some of those ways today. And I'll share a few of the tangible, more attention-getting ways to do that in a second. And so this is what I'm going to share with you today. As mentioned, this is next-gen collateral. It'll help define and present your value proposition to hiring managers. We've got the 4-tier branding statement up top, professional dossier to the left, the networking brief to the right, and the mind map to in the bottom. And I'm going to give you more detail on how to create each of these tools for yourself in just a moment. But the reason we're doing this and why these next-gen tools are effective is because they add perspective to your experience, knowledge, and subject matter expertise, as well as your work history. You know, a simple resume and cover letter just can't capture the richness of your value prop, but these next-gen tools can. And besides being different to standard resume submissions, these innovative resources will help redirect focus onto the underlying skills and abilities that make you effective. And it's super important if you're trying to change roles or industries to have more than just your work experience on your resume. And because functional knowledge is learnable, right? But you have to have the requisite competencies to be a success. So it all starts with basically defining your value proposition. It's at the heart of your career strategy. It's the foundation for everything in your job search and your career advancement, which you can use to target employers, enlist the help of others, and persuade others why you're the right person for the job. I mean, your value proposition encompasses how you can solve business problems using your core competencies. Unfortunately, like I said, resumes do a really poor job of communicating your core value prop to potential recruiters and hiring managers. And that's why I found a better way to get interviews and to land more job offers with this type of collateral. So let's jump in. The first one I want to share with you is the 4-tier branding statement. This is basically, hang on one second. I'm just go back and check to make sure everybody can hear me. So it looks like some people are having problem with the audio. Again, can most of you hear me, or is it just individual cases? So just want to check before we move on. Okay, great. I'm getting yeses. All right. So if you're having audio problems, you might want to reach out to somebody at coach.me. And somebody just said that it had to exit and come back out, but it now works. So maybe you can try that. Just exit and come back into the room, and then you get the audio back. Okay, so moving on to the 4-tier branding statement. This is how you deliver your pitch verbally. It's your value proposition stated in words, and language is important because the words are going to persuade people to give you an interview, to give you an offer, to do your networking, your resume. All that stuff is words. So basically, these words are your talking points in 4 different versions. So you can use this for networking, you can use this for interviewing. And the cool thing about this is once you have it set up, it really creates a foundation for creating some of the other collateral that I'll talk to you about. And by the way, the other byproduct is going to create a lot of confidence because you're going to know exactly what to say in different scenarios. So you're going to come across as more knowledgeable and professional. So it will serve as a foundation for all of your core value proposition development. And so let me show you what it looks like structurally. Tier 1 is basically where, and Tier 2 are great for networking, and Tier 3 and 4 are intended for more formal phone screeners and interviewers. And each tier is progressively more detailed, and it adds information and perspective onto your value prop. So in the first tier, what you're going to do is literally have a summary of the best words that describe you professionally. And how do I get these? Well, you can go out to job descriptions, you go to LinkedIn profiles. You can also use assessment tests. Go to the MBTI, 16 personalities, or do a Gallup's Strengths Finder or Harrison assessment test. And there's all sorts of great words that you can glean for all of your collateral. So in tier 2, basically you're going to build upon those keywords that you have. And each of the keywords are going to summarize one of your core competencies. So in the first line, you're going to have perhaps, if we go back to the example, strong relationship skills. And so in the second tier, you're going to have something like your story. You have a service-oriented leadership style, and that you can drive engagement and build strong networks. So it gets more detail about the keyword. And then in tier 3, you're going to build out that even more and add your underlying skills that you're using to become that great, strong relationship builder. And then tier 4 is where you're going to add your stories and examples that you can use in interviews, and it adds credibility to your assertions. So some of the ways that you can also develop content for this 4-tier branding statement for the next gen collateral is to ask yourself a set of questions. And an exercise I use with my clients is called the Defining Your Professional Expertise exercise. And it consists of 4 simple questions. The first question is, what problems am I great at solving? And you can say something like analytical, relational, logical, logistical, technical, financial, mathematical, strategic. There's all sorts of problems. So start diving into the problems that you really love to solve. Second, how would you go about creating a solution for this stated problem? And this is important that you go step by step and think through all of the things that you do. People tend to gloss over this, and if you ask them what they do, they say, well, I'm a product manager. What does that mean? And what are you doing? What is the solutions that you're bringing? So talk about your approaches, your methodologies, the know-how you apply, and so forth. Third question, what outcomes can you get for a company, department, or team? For example, increased revenue, increased customer satisfaction, better collaboration, reduced expenses, faster development time, enhanced processes, and stuff like that. And then the fourth question is, what expertise do you employ in solving these problems? For example, data analysis or persuasion, relationship building, your technical savvy, adaptability, organization, time management, cross-functional collaboration. There's all sorts of things that you have expertise around that you really want to drill down and get to the core of, because that's all the stuff that you can use for this next-gen collateral. Other questions you can ask yourself or ask a professional colleague who'd help you from a third-party perspective is, what problems am I really good at solving? What value do I create? Why is that so important? What do I do best? How would you describe me to someone else? And what are my biggest strengths? And what are my specialties? And you can use, again, all of this, the answers, to really define your core value proposition. So try creating one of these 4-tier branding statements on your own, and start with the first tier in column 1 and establish the most powerful keywords that you can think of to capture your 5 primary skills and abilities. Imagine you have to deliver your offer to a CEO of a company you admire in a short 15-second elevator ride. What would you say to get that person to say, hey, call my assistant. We need people like you in our organization. Then build out more detail describing those 5 skills in the second column to be able to deliver an effective elevator pitch to anyone who asks what you do. After that, in the third column, do a deep dive and think about your underlying abilities, approaches, methodologies, and know-how that you use that makes you different and makes you stand out, so that you can use these in interviews and phone screeners. And then finally, in the last column, add a bulleted list of the stories and examples that provide credibility to the assertions you made in the first 3 columns. And so in the end, you're going to have a great salient set of talking points to use in any professional setting. So let's move on to the professional dossier. The dossier is a one-sheeter. Most of my collateral is, because people are busy. They don't have much time to look through your stuff. We want to get really succinct and to the point. So basically, this document provides more in-depth discovery of who you are and what value you can bring to an organization. You can use the content you created in your 4-tier branding statement as an input to this document, and it can be used to create more intrigue with recruiters and hiring managers. And it looks something like this. The professional dossier is a great complement to your resume. It has 4 main sections: who I am, what I do, how I create value, and an optional core competencies or key qualifications section at the bottom. And before I move on, I want to take a moment to invite the people who just joined to ask any questions you have in the chat box, and I'll try and get to as many of those questions that I can at the end of the presentation. So moving on, the professional dossier works especially well if you're attempting to change industries or roles, as it can pivot the focus from your professional or functional experience or lack thereof and place it squarely on your underlying core competencies. Since this document is supplemental and different to what most other candidates submit, it's likely to catch the attention of hiring managers, recruiters, and HR professionals. It can also help develop a prospective employer mentally project you into the role they're hiring for by enabling them to see how you have the requisite skills and abilities for the role, which is especially useful if you lack some of the experience or functional level qualifications. And it also demonstrates ingenuity and initiative that will help impress hiring managers. So question I get often is, well, how do I use this? When do I use this? Submit it with your resume. This is a top level document. You wouldn't take it into an interview. You want to use this to help get an interview, and you send it to a company along with your resume, or you send it to a recruiter or hiring manager that you're working with, and introduce it. Make sure that you tell them exactly what this is so they have an understanding that you're just adding more color to who you are. You could say something like, I've attached my resume to this email for your consideration. I've also included my professional dossier, which gives more information on my skill set and outlines how I can add value to your conversation. You can also say something like, I'm attaching my professional dossier. It adds depth and perspective to my resume and provides more information about my specific skills and abilities. So here's a sample. Hopefully you can see this well enough. Let me see something. Yeah, I think you can see this. Okay, great. Just one second. I just want to make sure that I'm doing full screen on this. Let me go back to the screen that you're looking at. Great. All right, just to check. To create one of these for yourself, I would start with the keywords that best describe you professionally, and then form sentences around those keywords for the opening Who Am I section. Then you can add a bulleted list or some prose to the next section about what you do. And this is the value that you're going to provide for companies. And then the following section on how you add value describes more specifically the skills and abilities that you have to bring to bear. And if you have room at the end, you can also add a core competencies or a key qualifications section to fill this page out. So this next one we're going to talk about is the mind map. This is the third next gen piece of collateral that I suggest that you might want to consider building for yourself. It's used for networking and for interviewing. And basically it is the mind map. It's a graphical representation of all your skills and capabilities that is both impressive and impactful because it's visual and it's very easy to comprehend. What's more is, there's very few of your competitors are going to be using this unique tool. And while mind maps are commonly used for brainstorming, problem solving, project planning, and note taking, it can also be applied to structuring and conveying your value proposition when networking and interviewing. And instead of trying to explain all of your skills and abilities in a linear fashion, note that you can really see what a person has to offer very quickly here. And as the adage goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it would take a significant amount of time and space to get across all of these ideas in a resume or an interview. So it's really fast and allows me to see what you have to offer. So here's another example. As you can see, it's a flexible tool that can be used both for networking and interview to communicate a large amount of data very quickly to another person. It enables someone else to easily see the breadth and depth of your value proposition and provides a roadmap for network contacts and hiring managers to pick out and explore the ideas that interest them the most. So it generates conversations very quickly because I could go, oh, tell me more about how what you know about strategic planning. Or I could go into the bottom and say cross-industry experience. So you have IT services experience. Tell me about that. And it gets to meaningful conversations faster with the people that you share it with. So let's move on to the networking brief. I know we're running through time quickly here. This is the fourth and last piece of collateral I'll share with you today. It is like the professional dossier. Only this you use for your network. You would not send this to a company because the company would take a look at this and say, oh, you really don't know what you want. There's a bunch of targeting and everything else. So you want to cast a wide net with your network to get a lot of ideas and use the professional dossier to be laser focused with companies. And it is a modern day job search tool that will aid others in helping you find your ideal job. It can be thought of as a career profile or a sizzle sheet that combines your value proposition as well as what you're looking for next. It's a really great tool to inspire fresh thoughts and access the ideas and referrals of others who might hold the connection to your future job. And this document focuses on your value proposition and your objectives and your career objectives, rather than the experience and accomplishments that would be found in your resume. And the intent is to give somebody a really good idea of what you can do, what you're capable of, and what you're looking for next. So the networking brief has two parts or two sides, and it can look differently. As you see, this one's landscape and this one's portrait, but basically it has a left side and a right side. The left side contains your value proposition in terms of your expertise, the problems you solve, and how you solve them, as well as your core competence. And the right side contains information about the industries, organizations, and roles you're interested in, as well as the type of people you'd like to talk to. So it shows more of your objective, and it gives the people an idea of where you want to go next and who you're interested in talking to. And as I already noted, that this document is a great tool for mining referrals, ideas, and leads from others. So the better input criteria you put, the better results you get from somebody else's referrals, ideas, and leads. And everybody kind of has a Rolodex of people that they know in their heads. Everybody knows hundreds of contacts. And the networking brief is designed to identify and convey very specific words and phrases to help other people connect the wires in their heads and give you better, more relevant information on contacts and ideas and opportunities that they know of. So to make sure that people understand what a networking brief is, you want to always introduce it so it's not mistaken for a wonky looking resume. And the way you do this is something like this. Hey, can I send you my networking brief? And somebody will probably say, what's a networking brief? And you'll say, well, it's a one-page summary that provides my value proposition as well as what I'm looking for next. And you can use, like I said, landscape to make sure that it is not confused for a resume, or you can just write networking brief on top of the header. So all of these 4 tools, and there's many more, but basically I wanted to give you some that really help you stand out, are part of a laser-focused network-based job search. And basically, this strategy works in today's difficult job market because it targets what you want with emphasis on your unique selling proposition. And what I can tell you is you really want to spend time networking more than anything else because while you can send out tons of resumes and get on job boards and everything, the magic happens in conversations. And I can tell you that about 80% of my clients find their ideal positions through networking because there's no better means of having a conversation with a person. You can identify their needs right away. You can address their concerns. You can overcome objections in a real world conversation. And your resume and piece of paper can't do that. So spend an hour a week networking and developing that. And again, I'll show you more strategies or how to get more information on that at the end of this presentation. So before we go on to that, just want to give you 2 more resources for yourself. 2 books that I recommend. One is How to Be a Power Connector by Judy Robinette. The other one's called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. Both are great books to help you with networking. Highly recommend the networking strategies they have in there. So just want to tell you, I did tell you at the beginning of the presentation, I give you an offer. If you want to do more work, you can take an online course that I literally just launched 2 days ago called Career Mastery. And today is the very first time I am offering this course to the general public. And I invite you to come join it if you like. It basically has how to find, discover, and land your ideal job. It's got 8 hours of career development expert guidance that I provide from the last 6 years of my coaching. There's 4 courses, 140 individualized lessons, 70 exercises, templates, and samples of work that I can tell you other people aren't doing in this market. And it normally retails for $19.97 if I do that in person. The course is $9.97, and it has the same content, the same exercises. You can work at your own pace, and you can access the content anytime. But today, For the Momentum 2021, I'm actually going to take $500 off that. And if you're interested, it's $497 with a 30-day money back guarantee. So there is no risk for trying this out. And I'll make this offer valid until January the 9th. And so if you want that discount code, I'm going to get to the questions in a quick second. I just want to give you this offer. It's a 50% off. So it's $500 off. It's $497. Text this number is 833-535-0864. All you have to do is type in the word career. Doesn't matter if it's upper or lower case. An autoresponder will come on twice. It'll first ask you for your name, and then you ask for your email address. And if you want this offer, just text me that number, and I will send that to you, offer to the career class. Alternatively, happy to do a complimentary career coaching session with you. Just go to my website at www.c-synergy.com. Click the red career strategy button, and I would be happy to get on the phone with you for half an hour and talk through your issues and see how I might be able to help you more. So here are my contact information, and I'm going to jump back into the screen and see what questions you have. And if you haven't put any in now, please go ahead and type them in now. So I'm going to start from the top and see if we have any questions. All right, so let's see. Just about reloading and sound so far. All right, how does one get the discount code from outside the US? Well, basically you can email me and you can or go to the my online site, and there's a contact information page, or just email me directly. My information is mlangford, M as in Mark, LANGFORD at c-synergy.com. It's mlangford at c-synergy.com. I'd be happy to send that to you outside of the US. And again, you could go on my website. There's a contact page as well. All right, so the next question comes from Russ. How would you recommend finding a job during COVID times when opportunities are scarce and everyone's looking for the same thing, remote, freelance, and so forth? So that's what the whole presentation tries to go and discuss. Is basically what you want to do is something different than other people. You have to have a laser-focused network-based job search. You have to get out there and talk to people. Yes, everybody's scrambling for the similar positions. I will tell you that fortune favors the bold. And you have to have a one-on-one conversation with your hiring managers or recruiters and the people that are hiring. So you have to go out and do the legwork. Do not rely on job boards. Do not just send your resume in. Use some of these tools in this course. It will be recorded so you can go back through it and see how to use them. Send in your professional dossier, submit your mind map. And then, again, I work with people on developing optimized cover letters and LinkedIn profiles and everything else, as well as next-gen collateral. But the key is to get out there and to network and to target the companies and to get on their radar. It is not who you know. It is not what you know. It is who knows you. And so basically, when a job comes up, if you are on somebody's radar and you get a referral into the company, you literally have a 50% chance of getting an interview. You send your resume and you have a 1 to 4% chance. So you're exponentially more likely to get an interview by contacting people at the company. So create your target list of companies and then find a way to network into that company. Again, that's a whole networking strategy session that I'll do some other time. But basically create a contact, get your resume, walk down into the hiring manager. Okay, so Grace asked, just to make sure I'm clear, what are the best ways to use the collateral docs? Networking brief for your network, right? It doesn't go to companies. It goes to people who might have opportunities or ideas for you. And the professional dossier goes to companies. Your 4-tier branding statement is your verbal pitch. This is the different pitches you use in different professional situations. And then the mind map can be used for networking or interviewing. I like to put a mind map in an interview presentation so that you have really great talking points, including a SWOT analysis, 30, 60, 90-day plan, an ideation slide, and so forth. And again, don't have time to go over all the ideas for an interview presentation, but it's great to bring out in an interview as well. Okay. Clara says, how do you apply your tools when one wants to change a career and has no work experience in the new field, for instance, to go to project management from an unrelated previous job? Again, what I want to express is that you have to get your skills and abilities. You have to deflect the focus from your lack of functional knowledge and basically onto the skills and abilities that you have. So for project management, What you want to talk about is how great you are at time management, and then give examples. You want to talk about how you're cross-functionally able to work with different people at different levels. You want to focus on how you can effectively manage or multitask or manage big and small tasks. And so go through your history and look through all the skills and abilities and really focus that and put that into a professional dossier that accompanies your resume, because your resume is a chronology of all your work history. The professional dossier gets to your skills and abilities and secret sauce. And that is where you can actually kind of deflect the attention off of your lack of focus, functional experience, and onto the skills and abilities that the position requires. And again, happy to work with you some more on that. There's a lot of strategies, and it's really hard to answer in just 2 minutes, but basically focus on your skills and abilities, make network connections, and then talk to people and tell them the underlying success factors, your secret sauce and superpowers. Cool. All right. Well, I think we are out of time. It is now 12:01, and I thank you so much for joining the presentation today. And again, if you would like the online course, please contact me. And otherwise, reach out to me at c-synergy.com. And I look forward to speaking with some of you in the future. Thanks so much. Bye.